y buenas noches. It is my pleasure to welcome you both in person and to those of you on Zoom to the Adelphi New York Statewide Breast Cancer Hotline and Support Program's celebration of survivorship. Today will be an inspiring evening we are proud to share with you, our clients, volunteers, supporters, and community partners. I am Reina Machado, Director of the program. Tonight is the first time we are celebrating in person since 2019. It's great to be back. Thank you for joining us to celebrate life and strength, which have been redefined in part due to the COVID-19 pandemic. We are honored to have Sandra Alleyne, Bridget Desimone, Vilda Alberto Ponce, and Janet Spool to share their breast cancer journeys, struggles, and triumphs. Tonight, the panel will share their stories, which reflect the diversity of the clients we serve. For the first time, we have a panelist who will share her story in Spanish and will be translated by one of our bilingual social workers. The staff at the Adelphi New York Statewide Breast Cancer Hotline and Support Program is unlike any other. This year, it has been wonderful to hold outdoor educational programs, special events, and recognize the heart and soul of our program, our volunteers. In order to protect our most vulnerable community members, including those in active treatment for breast cancer, our support groups continue to be held over Zoom. As October soon comes to a close, I urge everyone to remember that self-care is essential and to take charge of your health. Many, myself included, have fallen behind on annual health screenings, so please reach out if you are in need of a referral for a mammogram or patient navigation. There are so many people I would like to thank tonight. My remarkable team, including Angela, who coordinated tonight's celebration and worked with all of the speakers so they could share their remarkable stories. Thank you. Michelle, Kim, Adriana, Lois, Nina, and Lynn have all been involved in various aspects of the event. This team wears many hats. I truly appreciate your professionalism and commitment. Thank you. Lynn, you have been with the program since our inception in 1980, and even tonight, she continues to give of herself. Today is Lynn's 80th birthday. Lynn, please join me on stage. To the advisory board, including those of you here tonight, Lynn, Adi, Ron, Debbie, and Pam, thank you for your continued support and contributions to the program. As I've said, and I will say again, the volunteers are the heart and soul of our program. Thank you for your dedication and compassion. A special thank you to our generous sponsors, Natrel, Fortune Off Fine Jewelry, NY Bra, the DeMattis family, Adi and Don Hendler, Dr. Karen Kostroff, and Long Island Plastic Surgical Group, and to all the people and businesses who purchase journal ads. While we are housed at Adelphi University, our program brings in all of our own funds and grants from New York State, family and private foundations, and donations. We work very hard to ensure all of our services are completely free, including tonight's event. If you are able to make a contribution or purchase a raffle ticket to pay it forward, please do so. As previously mentioned, I will announce the winner of the Fortune Off necklace at the conclusion of the program. It is my pleasure tonight to introduce Adelphi University's Provost and Executive Vice President, Dr. Chris Storm. Provost. Provost Chris Storm joined Adelphi in 2007 as Assistant Professor of Mathematics. Earlier, he served as Associate Professor and Department Chair before moving full-time to Academic Administration in 2016. He earned his bachelor's, master's, and PhD from Dartmouth College. This is the first time Provost Chris Storm is speaking at our annual celebration. Thank you for your support.
Great. Thank you so much, Raina. It's great to be here today for this event that not only celebrates the inspirational individuals among us whose lives have been impacted by breast cancer, but also highlights the amazing work that you and your team do to carry forward the meaningful legacy of the Adelphi New York statewide breast cancer hotline and support program. Thank you for your remarkable efforts to serve those in our community who have experienced a breast cancer diagnosis. While I am here in my capacity as provost of Adelphi University, this is also a very personal moment for me. My mother was diagnosed with breast cancer and underwent treatment mid-COVID. We're very fortunate today that she's doing well and regaining her quality of life, but as with many, it was quite a challenge. So I want to focus on and mention the legacy of this program. It's one that we are very proud of here at Adelphi. The far-reaching impact of the support that it provides today could not have been imagined when the School of Social Work held its first post-mastectomy group in 1980. Perhaps this is an excellent chance for another happy birthday wish as well. This group transformed into the woman-to-woman hotline and ultimately became the oldest breast cancer hotline in the country, staffed by professionally trained volunteers and staff. The program continues today to expand its reach in ways that align with Adelphi University's values, particularly as it seeks to improve access to its support through education, bilingual counseling, and outreach to medically underserved communities. Through the good work of the Adelphi New York statewide breast cancer support program, we've had the opportunity to meet the inspirational individuals that we're celebrating here today. Sandra, Bridget, Vilda, Janet, I've heard a bit about each of you and the incredible strength that you have shown in your battles against breast cancer is an inspiration. I also have great admiration for each of you for sharing your experiences tonight to educate, support, and empower others. Thank you for being leading voices for those in our community who are impacted by this disease. Today, I'm also very proud to welcome and to share a proclamation from Senator Kevin Thomas, who we're so pleased to have with us here in person. I'd also like to acknowledge and thank Senator Anna Kaplan, who has also shared proclamations. It means so much to have the Adelphi New York statewide breast cancer program recognized by our elected officials for its tradition of supporting people across New York who have been diagnosed with breast cancer. We best support our community when we all work together in partnership. So perhaps if Senator Thomas would join us and we'll read the proclamation.
Am I allowed to share a few words before? Absolutely. All right. Maybe I'll just put this on the side somewhere. There you go. One second, just want to get my, there you go. Hello, everyone. State Senator Kevin Thomas, and I am so honored to be here. I actually represent this university up in the state capital of Albany. Thank you to Adelphi and to Raina Machado and your team for putting this together. Breast Cancer Awareness Month is an opportunity to shine a light on breast cancer and keep it high on the public agenda. It's also very personal for me because my aunt passed away about a decade ago from breast cancer because she didn't screen early enough to catch it. Another aunt of mine did catch it early enough, and she's a survivor now. This month, it allows us to shed light on the challenges and often invisible realities of living with this disease. 2020 has been a challenging year for us all, but I know that it has been particularly difficult for cancer patients and their families. The COVID-19 pandemic has disrupted cancer treatment, delayed screenings, and affected access to medicines, but the breast cancer hotline worked extra hard to make sure that patients had the resources that they need. So I want to thank all those involved in this program for the invaluable work they do to save lives. Today, we are also joined by survivors, and I know that there are so many women like them across New York. Thank you for attending this program to share your story. And this is going to empower more women to screen early and to make sure they take care of themselves. As a state senator that represents this area, I see the important work that you do, and I have an announcement to make. Ready for it? All right. The Adelphi Breast Cancer Hotline will be receiving $100,000 from the New York State Senate to run the program going forward. All right. So that pales in comparison to the proclamation, but just wanted to get that out there before the proclamation's read. But to everyone out there, especially to the people that run the program, thank you from the bottom of my heart. They've been in my office in and out, calling my chief of staff every moment that they can get. We will get you more money. All right. This is just a first step, but thank you for everything that you do. All right. God bless. And of course, the proclamation. You can read it out if you want.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to read the proclamation. And by the way, persistence is key. We have a phenomenal senator. New York State Senate Proclamation commemorating Adelphi, New York statewide breast cancer hotline and support program upon its celebration of survivorship. Whereas it is the sense of this legislative body to commend the illustrious organizations of the state of New York, the focus and intent of which we have made a substantial impact on the quality of life in their communities. And whereas attendant to such concern, maybe you should read this part.
I, New York State Senator Kevin Thomas,
Am justly proud to commemorate Adelphi, New York statewide breast cancer hotline and support program upon its celebration of survivorship to be held at Adelphi University in the University Center Ballroom on October 20th, 2022. And whereas Adelphi University has a long-standing record of responding to needs in the community. In 1980, the first post-mastectomy group began at Adelphi's School of Social Work located in Garden City, New York. And whereas the group members, along with staff, faculty, and interns at Adelphi, developed the woman-to-woman hotline. Today, Adelphi University has the oldest breast cancer hotline in the country, staffed by professionally trained and supervised volunteers, most of whom are breast cancer survivors. And whereas social workers also offer professional counseling in English and Spanish, including individual and group counseling, crisis intervention and referrals, in person, on the phone, and via online chat. And whereas Adelphi University hosts educational, health and wellness, and celebratory events year-round. Forums are focused on medical, legal, psychosocial, and wellness topics and are facilitated by renowned experts in various fields of practice. And whereas, in October, Adelphi University hosts an annual celebration of survivorship, which features a panel of survivors and is attended by over 400 members of the breast cancer community. And whereas, the Adelphi, New York statewide cancer hotline and support program has been integral in supporting medically underserved communities with education and access to care in order to improve health outcomes. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that I
New York State Senator Kevin Thomas,
am justly proud to commemorate Adelphi, New York statewide breast cancer hotline and support program upon its celebration of survivorship to be held on October 20th, 2022, and be it further proclaimed that a copy of this proclamation be transmitted to Adelphi University during today's event. Great.
Yeah, come to the middle. Perfect. All right.
Okay, great. I'm also thrilled to share that we have proclamations from Senator Kaplan tonight. I won't read the full thing, but I will read the header for each. So the first is a proclamation from Senator Anna M. Kaplan recognizing Sandra Alleyne for her role as a speaker at the Adelphi, New York statewide breast cancer hotline and support program 2022 celebration of survivorship. I now have a proclamation from Senator Anna M. Kaplan recognizing Bridget Desimone for her role as a speaker at the Adelphi, New York statewide breast cancer hotline and support program 2022 celebration of survivorship. So I now have a proclamation from Senator Anna M. Kaplan recognizing Vilda Alberto Ponce for her role as a speaker at the Adelphi, New York statewide breast cancer hotline and support program 2022 celebration of survivorship. Okay, our final proclamation of the evening. From Senator Anna M. Kaplan, recognizing Janet Spool for her role as a speaker at the Adelphi, New York statewide breast cancer hotline and support program 2022 celebration of survivorship. All right, thank you so much. I'll turn the program back over.
I'd really like to thank Senator Thomas and Senator Kaplan for their continued leadership and support of our program. We could not do this work without your support. And without any further ado, I'd like to begin with our panel. Our first speaker is Sandra Alleyne. In 2011, Sandra Elizabeth Alleyne was diagnosed with stage 3A breast cancer. At the age of 54, she had chemo, a bilateral mastectomy, and radiation. She was then on medication for 5 years. And in 2019, she had a biopsy which showed evidence of metastatic breast cancer, which was ER positive. As part of the metastatic breast cancer community, we are very fortunate to have Sandra share her perspective and hope with us tonight. Please welcome Sandra.
Thanks, everyone. Good evening. My fellow survivors, we got this, okay? Do your breast self-examinations, have your regular mammograms, and most importantly, if you feel something, do something about it immediately. I am Sandra Alleyne, a breast cancer survivor. As the psalmist said, the Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, my God, my rock in whom I take refuge, my shield and the horn of my salvation. He is my stronghold. Psalm 18, verse 2. I am grateful for the opportunity to present to you today my life stage. I lost my mom in 1983 to breast cancer, and 2 years prior, my aunt suffered a similar fate. She was my mom's oldest sister. Having lost two close family members to breast cancer, I did my monthly self-examinations and got yearly mammograms. It was during a routine visit to my gynecologist that a lump was found in my right breast. A mammogram, ultrasound, and biopsy were performed, and on September 23rd, 2011, at the tender age of 54, I received the results that would change my life going forward. I was diagnosed with stage 3A breast cancer. I felt numb and scared. The cancer was aggressive, and the treatment process included 24 sessions of chemo, followed by surgery and 7 weeks of radiation, 5 days a week. My family's history of breast cancer prompted my decision to have a double mastectomy. I did not want to deal with the possibility of the cancer spreading to my left breast and having to go through the process all over again. I also had my hair shaved prior to receiving the chemo. As you could see, it was stylish. Having a very supportive network is one of the many blessings for which I am truly thankful. Family and friends accompanied me on medical appointments. I also received spiritual encouragement from various prayer groups in the USA and in my native island of Barbados. I also had a prayer line. Another soothing moment before each chemo treatment and surgery, I met with members of the Curcio community, a movement within the Episcopal Church of which I'm a member, who came to the house and we had in-person prayer sessions. As with many cancer patients, financial obstacles present a challenge during the treatment process. I am a hairstylist by profession, and it was difficult to perform during the months following the surgery. My family came to my assistance and assured me that they would support me and told me not to stress over finances. They told me to stay positive and prayerful, and that we will get through this together. The American Cancer Society and cancercare.org also provided support during this experience. At the Brooklyn Hospital where I received treatment, a breast cancer navigator was assigned to me, and she called on me daily to make sure I was eating, to see how I was dealing with the after effects of the chemo, and more importantly, to make sure I was not depressed. When I was feeling low, the navigator gave me some reassuring words that were comforting and helpful. She knew how to respond to my needs and concerns, and she answered my questions and guided me through the process. To date, I am now at stage 4, which means my cancer has metastasized, meaning it has spread beyond the breast and nearby lymph nodes to other parts of the body, specifically my bones. Friends, I am scared. Why? For my nieces, Kira, Olivia, Lauren, Christina, and my cousins, Shayna, and the very young ones, Saari, Suma, Naira, and Nyla. I wouldn't want them to experience this journey. Hence, I am praying that the scientists and all who work in cancer research would come up with a cure. My fervent prayer is that no other family member goes through this. Breast cancer is not a curse. It is a disease, and it can affect anyone, even our men. So we as a people have to advocate for ourselves when we have the gut feeling that something isn't right with our bodies. whether we're old, young, male, or female. We have to keep speaking out, asking for what we need, and make sure our voices are heard. Simple rules. Do your breast self-examinations. Have your regular mammograms. And if you feel something, do something about it immediately. I would like to thank all my caretakers for helping me through this journey. We know it is not easy, but we are moving on. To my family, and I have so many, they're on Zoom, the ones in England, throughout the United States, and my homeland, Barbados. Hi, guys. My numerous friends, and there are lots of them. The medical team and cancer care specialists at Brooklyn Hospital, they are the rock. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. You know what you have done. Grateful is the word. Thankful is the word. Humility is the word. To God be the glory. Thank you. I also want to thank the Adelphi cancer group here, for your kindness and support for us survivors. And I do hope, survivors, that we can start a friendship and our own little personal group, and we can share our experiences as we go through this journey, because it's difficult. And for those of you out there who are survivors and who are going through treatments at this time, we are with you and we are available. We have stuff that we can share with you. So I just wanted to share that with those who are going through a similar fate. And I am one of those persons that are praying, hopefully, that they will soon find a cure for us that are at stage 4. I thank you so much.
Thank you, Sandra. I think many of us are hoping that research and support will continue to be a lifeline for the breast cancer community. I would now like to introduce our second speaker, Bridget Desimone. In 2018, following a routine OB/GYN appointment, a year and a half after having her daughter, Bridget's doctor recommended a sonogram due to postpartum changes and personal history. This led to Bridget's diagnosis of stage 2 hormone receptor positive breast cancer. At the age of 26, she underwent a bilateral mastectomy, chemo, and radiation, and is now receiving hormonal therapy. Bridget is a director of a day program for seniors with dementia and is beyond grateful for her husband, daughter, family, friends, and coworkers for all their help during her cancer journey. Thank you for being a symbol for young women in the breast cancer community and for raising awareness for breast cancer. Please welcome Bridget.
Said I didn't want to go after Sandra. Sorry if I cry. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm really honored to be here with all of you beautiful people, and I'm so grateful for Angela for inviting me to speak today. My name is Bridget, and I'm a 4-year breast cancer survivor. I'm here today to share that while my cancer diagnosis was devastating and completely unexpected, having the ability to find the smallest amount of positivity and strength made my cancer journey as successful as it is. I don't necessarily mean in the way that a therapist might teach you to list 5 things that you're grateful for every morning, but just recognizing and realizing things are going to be okay. When I say being diagnosed at 26 was the last thing I expected, I'm not exaggerating. I honestly thought I was invincible to cancer. And I mean that at any age. I thought I'd be one of those people, 99 years old, drinking a glass of wine before breakfast, with my worst lifelong ailment being a hangnail. I don't know what made me think that. I guess maybe it was because I had never smoked a cigarette. I have a very minimal family history of cancer and a somewhat healthy lifestyle, but I sure thought that anybody would have cancer but me, especially so young. Now listen, when I was 26, I was living the dream. And my definition of the dream might be little to others, but I was living it. I was happily married for 3 years to my incredible husband, Danny, a gorgeous baby girl, Genevieve, our own house. I had just recently started working my new job at a senior center, directing a program for individuals with dementia after leaving the corporate assisted living world. We had financial stability, amazing friends, and a close-knit family. Life was smooth sailing until I started scheduling some overdue doctor's appointments. I went to see my OBGYN, and for perspective, I only went there to renew my birth control prescription. But at that appointment, my OB and I discussed the combination of my personal history of benign lumps in my breasts and natural changes in a female's body postpartum, and she suggested I go for an ultrasound for some new baseline images. And normally I would have just brushed this off, but I figured since my new job had a schedule that was more conducive for actual life, I'd actually go. While getting the ultrasound, they found a mass that looked significantly different than the others. It was biopsied a couple days later, and the results came a couple days after that and revealed that I had stage 2 hormone receptor positive, HER2 negative breast cancer. For the longest time, I was waiting for a phone call telling me that the lab had mixed up my biopsy with someone else's and I didn't actually have cancer. But for the record, that didn't happen. The cancer was mine. But the second I was diagnosed, the worries settled right in. I remember initially worrying about my daughter. She was 1.5 years old when I was diagnosed. She was too young to remember me if I had passed away. I worried if I'd be able to keep my job because I was so new I didn't even qualify for medical leave yet. I worried so much, I was worrying about worrying. Looking back now, though, I realize those worries slowly went away with each doctor's appointment I went to. For example, my amazing medical oncologist, Dr. Marks at NYU Winthrop, assured me I wasn't going to die anytime soon. And also, cancer treatments are much more manageable these days and would likely be able to work while undergoing treatment. But let's be real, going through treatment was no joke, and the word manageable might be stretching the truth a bit. In short, my treatment was a bilateral mastectomy to tissue expanders, 16 rounds of ACT chemo, 28 rounds of radiation, an exchange surgery to implants a year later, and am currently on hormone therapy consisting of ovarian suppression and the oh so lovely anastrozole. But active treatment is where my village came in. You know the saying, it takes a village to raise a child? Well, the same goes for fighting cancer, especially fighting cancer while raising a child. My husband became the mayor of this village. At just 30 years old, he took on everything that in sickness and in health means, bringing me to all doctor's appointments, surgeries, and chemo, even shaving my head when it was time, and taking on every household and parental responsibility when I wasn't feeling well, all while making me feel loved and beautiful. Our parents would watch Genevieve, drive her to and from daycare, clean, cook, do laundry. Our siblings and friends were incredible. They never missed a beat. They'd come over just to hang out, to keep my mind distracted, take Genevieve out so I could get some rest, cook dinner for us, you name it. Our coworkers were so thoughtful. My husband's coworkers took up a collection to go Christmas shopping for our daughter, so I wouldn't have to worry about that. My coworkers got us all sorts of restaurant gift cards, so I wouldn't have to cook dinner while I was under the weather. My boss had allowed for me to take unpaid days when I ran out of sick days, and my staff covered the days I was at chemo and surgery. I'm really so grateful for everyone who helped us through my cancer journey. After being diagnosed, it seemed everyone I knew someone who had breast cancer, and they'd give me their phone number and email address. It hit me that everyone nowadays is actually affected by breast cancer in some way, but I was desperate to find someone new that I could relate to and actually meet. I stumbled upon the Breast Cancer Healthline app, now renamed Bezzy BC. This app has everything: articles, research, forums, even a feature to find other breast cancer patients to chat with. We joke now and say it's like a dating site for breast cancer patients, but that's where I found a lifelong best friend, Nicole. Nicole had been diagnosed with triple-negative breast cancer 3 months before my diagnosis. Her baby boy, Michael, was just 5 weeks old when she heard those terrible words, "You have cancer." She lived just 30 minutes from me, and she was 28, going through the same treatments as me. She became my cancer coach, telling me all the ins and outs of treatment through a patient's perspective. We discuss everything, though, not just cancer: work, our babies, our husbands, family and friends, pop culture, politics, you name it. She and I have been through so much before we even turned 30, but we did it together. We have such a strong bond that we will always share. She has since had another baby boy named Joseph and is back to work trying to protect the streets of New York City as an NYPD officer. Still texting each other daily, but without Nicole, I cannot imagine what my cancer journey would have been like. When I think about my cancer journey, I think about how people always say, "I don't know how you do it," or "You're so strong." I don't know if it's really all that impressive. I did whatever I had to do to be there for my daughter and family. Genevieve is everything to me, and I want to be there for everything in her life. I've loved every second of watching her grow during the past 5 years. I especially love watching her mind grow. How a couple simple thoughts become something so complex is truly amazing, and how a child's brain works is incredible. One of my favorite stories to tell about Jenny during my cancer journey is how she didn't even notice anything different about me when I had to shave my head. She really just saw me for me. But I particularly love telling the story of when she finally realized I was bald. I had been in chemo for about 4 months. She was 2 by this time. It was just a regular day. I was picking her up from my in-laws' house after work, and she had been playing makeup and hairdresser with Papa, my father-in-law. When I walked in, she said, "Mommy, I do your hair?" I looked up at my father-in-law in sheer panic, because how could she possibly do my hair? I was bald. I sat down on the floor with her while she grabbed a hair clip. She reached up to put it in my hair and said, "Mommy, no hair?" We just bursted out laughing. I mean, I had been bald for quite a few months, and this was the first time she had even realized. Even now that she's 5, I love when she sees a pink ribbon. She knows it's Mommy's ribbon. Someday she'll understand exactly what that means, but I hope breast cancer is a thing of the past by then. I look forward to all that life has in store for us as a family, all the milestones we will watch Jenny reach, but we'll live the same dream as before, just with a new perspective. And hey, I could still be that 99-year-old woman drinking a glass of wine before breakfast, as I thought before, just with a couple extra scars. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Bridget. I've heard her speech before, and it's still so emotional and beautiful. Thank you. I would now like to introduce our third speaker, Vilda Alberto Ponce. In late 2020, Vilda was diagnosed with HER2-positive breast cancer. She credits her faith, family, and the many angels she has met along the way in helping her through her diagnosis. She is excited and grateful to share her story and bring hope to others through her personal experience. Her story will be shared in Spanish and then translated by our bilingual social worker, Adriana Valencia. Gracias por compartir su historia y por prestar su voz a la comunidad latina. Bienvenida, Adriana y Vilda.
¿No? Yes. Okay. Muy buenas tardes a todos. Es un privilegio y
Good
un,
afternoon, everyone. It is a privilege
y un regalo y un sueño cumplido estar esta tarde aquí con ustedes.
a gift and a privilege to be with you this afternoon.
Quiero comenzar mi testimonio reviviendo un momento que tengo grabado en mi mente y en mi corazón.
I would like to begin my story by reliving a moment that I have engraved in my mind and heart.
El día 12 de noviembre del año 2020, mis 3 hijos y yo nos despedimos con un eterno abrazo.
On November 12th, 2020, my 3 children and I said goodbye and embraced in what felt like an eternal hug.
Con un hasta pronto, mamá, me dieron su bendición para que emprendiera mi viaje a este país, donde muchos vienen por diferentes razones. Yo también venía, pero buscando una oportunidad para salvar mi vida.
With a "see you soon, Mom," they gave me their blessing as I would soon begin my journey to the U.S., where many come for different reasons. I too would come, but in hopes of saving my life.
Un mes atrás aproximadamente me di cuenta que sentía algo que no era normal. Una picazón en el pezón y decidí hacerme el autoexamen. Y para mi sorpresa, sentí una bolita en mi seno izquierdo, lo cual me asustó mucho. No podía ser que también a mí me estuviera pasando. Mis amigas María y Juanita se encontraban peleando por sus vidas debido a reincidencias de cáncer. Y mi hermana Kenia también había tenido cáncer 1 año y medio atrás.
About a month prior to our last goodbye, I felt something that felt not normal. I was experiencing an ongoing itch in my left nipple. I decided to do a self-breast exam, and to my surprise, I felt a lump. It couldn't possibly be true. My friends Maria and Juanita at this very moment were fighting for their lives due to a recurrence of cancer, while my youngest sister Kenya had fought the fight of her life against colon cancer just 18 months prior.
Procuré ir lo más pronto que pude al médico y a través de una mamografía y una biopsia me dieron el diagnóstico que cambió mi vida y la de mi familia para siempre.
I scheduled an appointment with my doctor as soon as possible. A mammogram and a biopsy would soon show a diagnosis that would change my life and that of my family's forever.
Los médicos me indicaron que tenía un cáncer invasivo y en una etapa avanzada y que necesitaba operarme y empezar quimioterapias cuanto antes, para lo cual me pedían una cantidad grande de dinero que no estaba a mi alcance. Desafortunadamente, mi país, Honduras, se encontraba en crisis, ya que no había cupo en los hospitales por la pandemia y por los huracanes Eta y Iota.
The doctors shared that they had found an invasive breast cancer in an advanced stage. They shared that I needed to have surgery and start chemotherapy as soon as possible, for which they asked me for a large sum of money that was simply not within my reach. Unfortunately, my beloved country of Honduras was facing a crisis due to the pandemic and hurricanes Eta and Ota. I was soon informed there were no available hospital rooms for me.
La noticia de mi cáncer llegó a mis amigos Antonio y Nolvia, quienes abrieron las puertas de su hogar y me ofrecieron su apoyo para venir aquí y pedir una segunda opinión.
Soon, the news of my cancer reached my friends Antonio and Nolvia, who opened the doors of their home. They offered me their support to come to New York and ask for a second opinion.
Así llegué aquí una madrugada del día 13 de noviembre del año 2020.
And so I arrived in New York in the middle of the night of November 13th, 2020.
El Hospital de Nassau University Medical Center aceptó mi caso y me confirmaron el diagnóstico HER2 positivo, gracias a Dios en etapa temprana.
Nassau University Medical Center agreed to see me and accepted my case. They confirmed my HER2 positive diagnosis, thankfully at an early stage.
Cuando escuchas cáncer, crees que es el final, pero no lo es. Es apenas un nuevo principio.
When you hear the words, "You have cancer," you think it's the end. But I am here to share with you that it's not. It's just the beginning.
En el mes de febrero me realizaron la mastectomía completa del seno izquierdo y en el mes de marzo empecé el tratamiento de 33 sesiones, 12 quimioterapias y 21 inmunoterapias. Y así empezó mi travesía de este largo viaje, al cual yo llamo mi bendito proceso de transformación.
In the month of February 2021, I had a complete mastectomy of my left breast. In March 2021, I began my treatment, 33 sessions in total, 12 chemotherapies and 21 immunotherapies. I also saw the start of what I so intentionally named my blessed transformation.
Cuando llegué a este país, no solo traía el cáncer, sino también el luto por la muerte de mi padre asesinado por la delincuencia. Las secuelas de violencia doméstica y un matrimonio roto. Y supe que Dios me estaba provocando un cambio que comenzaría de adentro hacia afuera.
When I arrived in the US alone and with the hopes of a shot at survival, yes, I arrived with a cancer diagnosis, but with so much more. As cancer is just one chapter of what makes me, me. I arrived mourning the loss of my father, who I lost due to crime, the aftermath of domestic violence and a broken marriage. I arrived and knew that God was pushing me to change and that it would start from the inside out.
Pasar por el cáncer me enseñó
My cancer journey has taught me
a enfrentar el dolor,
how to face pain,
a vencer el miedo a la muerte,
how to overcome the fear of death,
a valorar más a mis hijos, a mi mamá y a mi familia.
to value more than ever my beloved children, my mother, my family,
A perdonarme a mí misma y a los que me hicieron daño, incluyendo a los asesinos de mi padre.
to forgive myself and those who have hurt me, including those who took my father's life,
A respetarme, valorarme y amarme tal cual soy, con todas mis imperfecciones. A adquirir una disciplina de vida, empezando por mi alimentación.
to respect, value, and love myself just as I am, even with all my imperfections, including incorporating new habits such as mindful and healthy eating,
A apreciar las cosas de la vida, las cosas pequeñas, aquellas cosas que no vemos porque muchas veces estamos muy distraídos o muy ocupados.
to appreciate the little things in life that at times we don't see because we are too busy or too distracted.
A soltar todo aquello que te quita la paz, incluyendo personas a las cuales nos aferramos.
To let go of everything that takes away your peace, including people we sometimes cling to.
A aceptar este diagnóstico como un fuerte llamado a renunciar a quien era, a morir al yo, para dar oportunidad al nacimiento del nuevo ser que ahora soy.
To accept this diagnosis as a calling, to let go of who I once was, to say goodbye to the old me, and give myself the opportunity to be reborn again to who I have become today.
He aprendido mucho y he tenido muchos cambios positivos y sé que aún me falta mucho más.
I have experienced many positive changes, and I know that I still have a long way to go.
Mis hijos han madurado y crecido en la fe y están contentos sabiendo que aunque no me pueden ver, aunque no me pueden ver y abrazar como ustedes a sus hijos, están contentos porque saben que estoy viva y pueden escuchar mi voz cada día.
My children have matured and grown in faith and are happy knowing that although they cannot see me or hug me like many of your children are able to do, they know I am alive and they can hear my voice every day.
Siento que en este proceso encontré y conocía a Dios. Me abracé a Él y decidí no soltarlo.
I feel that in this journey, I have been able to find and really get to know God. I have chosen to embrace him and never let go.
Esto es lo más maravilloso que me ha pasado y por lo cual hoy doy gracias.
This is one of the most wonderful things that has happened to me, and for one that I am forever grateful for.
También doy gracias infinitas a mis ángeles.
I am also forever thankful to my angels.
Son esas personas que han estado cerca de una u otra manera.
Those who have been close to me in one way or another throughout my journey.
Antonio y Nolvia, gracias por apoyarme, por cuidarme y por hacerme parte de su familia.
Antonio, Nolvia, thank you for supporting me, for taking care of me
Gracias.
and making me part of your family. Thank you.
A mis amados hijos, a mi mamá, a mi familia y amigos que a la distancia me han dado amor y fuerza.
To my loving sons, my mother, my family and friends, that though in the distance have been able to provide me with love and strength to go on.
A mi hermana y gran guerrera, que estoy segura que una vez más venceremos.
To my sister and Shiro, I know we will once again be successful in fighting this new battle you face.
Y a todos mis amigos que me acompañan hoy.
And all my dear friends from near and far that are with me today.
A Nassau University Medical Center y Northwell, su equipo médico y enfermeras.
To Nassau University Medical Center, to Northwell, thank you to its medical teams and nurses.
Adelphi Breast Cancer Program y el grupo para nuestro bienestar.
To the Adelphi Breast Cancer Program and the group Para Nuestro Bienestar.
Ángela y Adriana. Gracias por cada jueves, por escucharnos, por su amor y por disponer recursos para nosotras. Las mujeres latinas, las emigrantes, por quienes hoy levanto mis brazos para dar gracias, porque nos han devuelto la esperanza que aquí nuestros derechos valen y nuestra vida también.
To Angela and Adriana, thank you for every Thursday, for listening to us, for your love, and for sharing resources with us, the Latinas of our country, the immigrants for who I raise my voice to thank you, Angela and Adriana, for allowing hope into our life once again, and for allowing us to learn that we do have rights and that our lives are worthy as well.
Elevando una oración hoy por cada persona que está enfrentando este proceso, que se aferren a la vida con fe y que se dejen acompañar. A mi hermana Kenia, que enfrenta una metástasis por cáncer. Por cada guerrera y guerrero, hoy levanto mis brazos y les digo que después de cada noche oscura comienza un nuevo amanecer, que llega con un rayo de luz y nos anuncia un nuevo comienzo, que nos revela una nueva oportunidad y nos reta a tomarla con valentía.
Tonight, I pray for each person that is facing their own cancer journey to have faith and allow themselves to be accompanied and not face their journey alone. I pray for my sister Kenya, who is facing metastatic colon cancer. For each Shiro and hero, I raise my arms and I tell you, after each dark night, a new dawn begins, and with it arrives a ray of light, announcing a new beginning, revealing a new opportunity with the challenge to take it on bravely.
Y a las que somos madres, que nuestros hijos puedan seguir las huellas que dejamos en cada camino. Esas huellas de las que nunca nos rendimos.
And to those of us who are mothers, may our children be able to follow in the footprints we leave behind, proof that we never have given up.
Pasamos hoy esta página, pero nuestra historia continúa tomados de la mano de Dios.
Today, we turn another page in our journey. But our story continues in God's hands. Tengan buenas noches. Have a great evening.
Some things are really difficult to translate. But I'm so glad that you did, Adriana. You know? Dije que hay ciertas cosas que son bien difíciles para traducir, pero hay historias que deben de ser contadas. Y estoy tan agradecida con Adriana porque hizo un trabajo bien difícil, pero maravilloso. Gracias a las dos. Last but certainly not least, I would like to introduce our fourth speaker tonight, Janet Spool. In 2017, Janet was diagnosed with invasive ductal carcinoma at the age of 67. At the time of her diagnosis, she was working full-time as the secretary to the principal of a local elementary school. Today, Janet is a wife, mother, and grandmother who feels fortunate to have many people in her life who helped her journey through surgeries and chemotherapy. She could not have succeeded without their support. Janet is also a longtime dedicated hotline and outreach volunteer with the Adelphi Breast Cancer Program. Please welcome Janet.
Hi, everyone. When I told my family I had been invited to speak today, they told me to start with a joke. Well, that wasn't going to work for me. I'm short, sorry. So instead, I would just like to say how humbled I am to be speaking to all of you and to share my story with so many survivors and guests. When I was first asked to speak, my reaction was, why me? My journey, fortunately, has been uncomplicated. So many had struggled through more challenging diagnoses and treatments. So what could I possibly share? But when I mentioned this to a dear friend, she said my experience was one of hope and that I needed to share that message. The support I received by so many from my family, my friends, my colleagues at work, the doctors, the nurses, the technicians, and the staff and the volunteers here at the Adelphi Breast Cancer Hotline and Support Program was amazing. All of this has helped me to become a stronger person. So let me begin my journey. In July of 2016, I was 67 years old, and I had my annual visit with my family practitioner, Dr. Edelstein. This was a man who my husband and I had been seeing for over 25 years. So we obviously shared many health issues. During my exam, he asked if he could do a breast exam, and I said, sure. When he finished, he told me he felt a thickening on the outside of my left breast. As it turns out, I was scheduled to have my annual mammogram the following week, and he told me that he wanted me to have a sonogram as well. I knew that wasn't a good thing. He gave me a prescription and sent me on my way. I was upset, but fortunately I was meeting two of my high school friends for lunch. So we were busy chatting and they kept my mind occupied. I also knew how lucky I was to be diligent in letting my doctor examine me and that I had an appointment for my annual mammogram on the calendar already. I went for the test the following week, and when the technician finished, the doctor came in and told me the x-rays looked suspicious and I needed to have a biopsy. I remember saying, how suspicious? And he said, very. That was not what I wanted to hear. I made an appointment for the biopsy the following Saturday. On Monday, I was getting ready to leave work to meet my husband at his cardiologist when the surgeon who did the biopsy called to tell me that I had infiltrating ductal carcinoma, the most common type of breast cancer. It was small, but I needed to see a breast surgeon and oncologist. And so my journey with breast cancer began. I guess you could say the next several weeks have become somewhat of a blur, and sharing this information with my children was so hard. Their grandmother, my mother, had died from ovarian cancer, and my husband was more worried than I was. I was more concerned for them than I was for me. My prognosis was excellent, and I tried to focus on that. I was very fortunate. A well-known oncologist's son went to school with my son and was a member of our temple's congregation. I didn't hesitate to call her practice, but I was told she didn't have an appointment for 6 months. So I used my connection and I got an appointment quickly. I was very lucky. After many doctor's appointments, consultations, numerous tests, I decided to have a bilateral mastectomy with expanders and ultimately replacement surgery to have silicone implants. I was scheduled for the surgery on September 27th, the soonest an operating room and all the doctors would be available. The waiting was challenging. Work was good for me, kept my mind and my days busy, trying not to think about the 8-hour surgery and recuperation. It was summer and the teaching staff was on vacation. My coworkers in the office were wonderful, and I chose not to tell the teaching staff when they returned. I had left that to the principal. My very close friends who lived in Florida wanted to come with and help me after surgery, but I asked them to come in early September so we could enjoy each other's company and have some fun together. They came over Labor Day weekend. We had a great visit, and my girlfriend cooked up a storm and froze lots of food for me so I wouldn't need to cook when I came home from the hospital. We had a great time. The surgery, although long, went well. I stayed overnight in the hospital and went home the next morning. I was anxious to get through my recuperation quickly and easily. My oldest granddaughter's bat mitzvah was the beginning in November, and I was determined to be in good shape for it. It was an important day in our family's lives and something we were all looking forward to immensely. Surgery was not going to get in my way. Oh, so as a sidebar, which I think is important in my journey, my husband had a stroke a few years earlier. He was fortunate. He got a medication that reverses symptoms and had no side effects of the stroke. However, he is a fainter. Early one Sunday morning, I hear a thud in the bathroom, and I go to see Barry flat on the floor, not responding to my voice. I freaked out. I called 911 and then my daughter, who lives very close by. By the time the ambulance came, he was conscious, but they took him to the hospital for further testing. As it turned out, he was dehydrated and all was fine, except me. I was beside myself. I ultimately told him I had enough to take care of myself at this time, and I couldn't worry about him also. He needed to take care of himself. In hindsight, that was pretty awful of me. Several days later, I broke out in shingles. Honestly, that was more challenging than the recuperation from surgery. During this period, I was back and forth to doctors. As it turned out, my oncotype came back with a high risk for recurrence. That meant I would need additional treatment. Considering my family history, I feared radiation treatment. The decision to have chemotherapy was made. I would need 4 treatments 3 weeks apart. I didn't want any treatment before the bat mitzvah, so my first treatment was scheduled for December. I would lose my hair. I chose to wear a wig, and it was suggested I have my head shaved, as it would be easier than watching my hair fall out. Such choices. My daughter, my sister, and a very good friend went with me to pick out my wig and have my head shaved. What can I say? It was very weird. Chemotherapy turned out to be not too bad. I had my treatments on Wednesday, took Thursday and Friday off from work, and went back on Monday. Each member of my family, Barry, Andrea, Matt, and my sister Randy, took me for a treatment. The staff at school, who by this time knew what I was going through, was wonderful. I could have not done this without their kindness, the support they showed me throughout my course of surgery, and my follow-up treatment. I am so grateful for having them in my life, and many of them are here today. I would like to mention at my first treatment, I was visited by a social worker, and that is how I learned about the Adelphi Breast Cancer Hotline and Support Program. I did call the hotline, and I'm so glad I did. I was interested in speaking to someone who went through a similar diagnosis and treatment. I spoke with one of the volunteers who was kind, understanding, and shared with me her experience. I had my exchange surgery in April and recuperated quickly. I am now on an estrogen inhibitor, and though I do have some side effects, they are minor. I am happy to have come through my journey with breast cancer, having met many, many wonderful people who have been through much more than me and who gave back so much. Yes, I live day to day with concerns of my future health, but so does many people. I would emphasize the need for going for your annual exams. I believe having mine saved my life. I would like to leave you with a cute, funny story. As my mom used to say, out of all bad comes good. And this story keeps me smiling whenever I think about it. Working in the school's main office, I became friendly with our principal and frequently ate lunch in his office. We had a fourth grade student who had some difficulties with noise in the cafeteria, and he would occasionally join me in the office to eat his lunch. We would chat and we'd have some cute conversations. In June, I decided I couldn't wear my wig anymore. It was too uncomfortable and I had had enough. A little boy came into the office with a friend, came over to my desk and asked me for something. I happily gave it to him and we exchanged a few words. As he was leaving the office, he said to his friend, either Mrs. Spool is out sick today or she got old really quick. It made my day. So now, my fellow volunteers, please stand. Now can I ask all the survivors to please stand? Warriors, thrivers, caregivers, if you have lost someone to breast cancer, everyone who has been impacted by breast cancer, please stand. Thank you all. Thank you.
Janet, thank you for sharing your story and for leading the charge to the audience. It's wonderful for us to be able to move forward together, right? Please join me in thanking our panel of speakers. I know many of them have guests and their physicians and other community partners. And as you know, we could not be in this fight without all of you. So thank you. And again, to the panel, I really want to thank you for sharing your very personal and inspirational stories. Thank you to our supporters, those of you in person and on Zoom, for giving us the honor of celebrating loved ones we've lost, those who are still fighting, and the women and men who have survived breast cancer diagnosis. Everyone here tonight knows how important it is to maintain a support system. Remember, you are not alone, and our program is here to help. If you need to talk, please call our hotline at 1-800-877-8077. You can also visit our website and register for free support groups, events, and educational forums. My final housekeeping item is the raffle winner. I'm really excited to share Debbie Langendorf. She won the really beautiful Fortune Off necklace. Nina has it for you. You can get it at the end. There are refreshments in the lobby. Thank you again for joining us. Buenas noches.